It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Tsh, da, 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 da. Di, da, di, di, da, di, di, da, 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 da. Di, da, di, li, da, di, li, di, da. Di, da, di, li, di, da, di, li, 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 da, di, da, di, di, da, di.
All right, we're going to be talking about NASA, not just what NASA is, but NASA's impact on society then and now. You'll be surprised at what actually lies behind the curtain of NASA's exterior as we delve into everything they've accomplished over the extent of their time on Earth and, for that matter, the solar system. So before NASA was a thing, there was NACA. What was NACA? NACA, or the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, was an agency tasked with institutionalized aeronautical research. It experimented with rocket planes such as the supersonic Bell X-1. However, this organization would drastically be expanded on due to the launch of the Sputnik 1 satellite by the Soviet Union. In reality, the Sputnik 1 was nothing more than a useless metal sphere with radio capabilities that only orbited for 3 weeks because its batteries died. It was revolutionary and ahead of anything America had ever accomplished. Feeling threatened by these advancements, the U.S. Congress responded with the creation of NASA. Sprouting from NACA, NASA, or the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, was founded in 1958 on July 29th for the purpose of researching space technology and space travel. NASA became synonymous with the space race in May 1961 as President John F. Kennedy announced that the United States should set a goal of sending a man to the moon.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
8 years and billions of dollars later, Neil Armstrong stepped out of the lunar module Eagle and onto the moon's surface on July 20th, 1969.
Hippity-hoppity, hippity-hoppity, hippity-hopping over hill and dale. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da. Hippity-hopping along.
While there were many technological advances in space travel, many obstacles crept up and allowed many to define the project as rational yet ambitious. For instance, the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster induced great skepticism and left a strain on the public's imagination. As a result, heightened safety measures were implemented, solid rocket boosters were redesigned, and a new policy on management decision-making for future launches were put into place. As soon as the space race began, the first goal in mind was, of course, to get a man on the moon before any other nation could. In order to do so, many compromises were made to keep the ship simple, leading to the decision that it should be launched by existing rockets. From 1958 to 1963, 2 million people and $277 million later, Project Mercury was the United States' first program to put a man in space. The objectives of the program, which made 6 manned flights from 1961 to 1963, were to orbit a manned spacecraft around Earth, investigate man's ability to function in space, and to recover all men and the spacecraft safely. Project Gemini was a 2-man mission starting from 1961 to 1966 that was made to support the Apollo mission land astronauts on the moon. While doing so, it perfected work outside the spacecraft with extravehicular activity, created space rendezvous, and allowed docking through orbital maneuvers. Project Gemini was a 2-man mission starting from 1961 to 1966 that was made to support the Apollo mission land astronauts on the moon. While doing so, it perfected work outside the spacecraft with extravehicular activity, created space rendezvous, and allowed docking through orbital maneuvers. The Apollo-Soyuz test project, conducted in July 1975, was the first joint U.S.-Soviet spaceflight as a symbol of the policy of détente that the two superpowers were pursuing at the time. It involved the docking of an Apollo Command Service module with the Soviet Soyuz 19. The unnumbered Apollo vehicle was a surplus of the terminated Apollo program and the last one to fly. This mission ceremoniously marked the end of the space race that had begun in 1957 with the Sputnik launch. The Apollo program, also known as Project Apollo, was the third United States human spaceflight program carried out by NASA, which was able to land the first humans on the moon in 1969. Apollo 11 was the first American spacecraft to reach the moon, carrying Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. An estimated 530 million people watched Armstrong's televised image and heard his voice describe the event as he took one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind on July 20th, 1969. While these missions overshadowed others, the projects were accompanied by several more projects such as Gemini, Skylab, the Space Shuttle program, the International Space Station, and many more on top of that. It is often said that some of the technological developments and advances in science, medicine, engineering, and other disciplines rose directly or indirectly from NASA's programs. Through countless years of research and experimentation, NASA has expanded what we thought we knew about the universe to an undeniably larger extent. But there is also no doubt that space is a unique environment, demanding rapid innovation and new ways of thinking, with little tolerance for error. These demands reward everyone when they spur creativity and technological invention. Despite NASA's records of technological achievements, one of the common complaints from NASA's advocates is that the agency fails to completely publicize the practical benefits of what it does. However, NASA has been beneficial to the Earth because it lets us monitor water quality and natural disasters from space, gives us more technology which could be applied to medical treatment, and broadens our understanding of the universe. Their efforts to seek what is beyond the confines of our world have led the human race on the path of knowledge, to not be content with what is beneath our feet, but what lies beyond as well.